Open redirects happens when the application takes an untrusted input and redirects a user from the web application to an untrusted site or resource that will be used further for malicious purposes. The impact of an open redirect is usually set to low unless you're using it to escalate another vulnerability. So think about an open redirect as a user sharing a link on Facebook, in an email, on Slack, where it shows a trusted website, but once you click on it, it will redirect you to a malicious site controlled by an attacker. But in a lot of cases, it may not be as straightforward as it sounds. A lot of times, developers either define a trusted or untrusted list of resources to limit the exposure of where you can actually direct the users to. But if you understand how this limitation of filters work, you may be able to bypass it. So for example, as I mentioned earlier, you can go to example.com, log in, and the next page would be Google. And if you go to Google, if you put in google.com in that parameter, this may be allowed. If you go to example.com and you put in evil site, where evil site is an untrusted resource that the developers have not defined in their whitelisting, then the application is going to decline it. However, if you combine the two, because the application is expecting to have Google somewhere in that string for next page, you have it after a question mark or before as a subdomain and different variations of it, you may be able to bypass those restrictions. So as I mentioned earlier, if you have a website that says /login next page, and after logging in, it's going to redirect you to google.com, that is going to be allowed. However, if you change google.com to evil site, where evil site is not defined in the pre-submitted whitelisted websites as a part of the filtering, it's not going to be allowed, and the web application may come back and say, hey, this is not allowed, or it was not trusted. However, if you combine the two, if you put evilsite.com/google.com, where google.com was allowed earlier, this may actually work because the filtering system in place is just looking for that string google.com. As long as that's in that string, as long as it shows up, it's going to allow the application to use it, even though it could be invalid and it may still go to evilsite.com. Now let's look at this on an actual example application.